What charge does this molecule have right here? Negative, neutral, positive, or is there not enough information to say? Well, we definitely have enough information to determine the molecular charge, and essentially that comes down to the definition of formal charge. Formal charge is the charge we assign to atoms within Lewis structures, taking into account the valence electrons it has. When assigning a formal charge to an atom, we make the assumption that each atom fully owns each of its dots, but half owns the electrons in its sticks. Remember, a stick represents two valence electrons. So if we assume that each element owns half of a bond, it owns one of the two electrons in that bond. That would mean that this oxygen owns 6 valence electrons and this nitrogen owns 5. Formal charge is simply the group number of the element minus the number of valence electrons the element owns. We do this calculation for each individual element and we get 0 for both because each owns the same number of valence electrons as the group they are in on the periodic table. Nitrogen's in group 5, oxygen's in group 6, and they own 5 and 6 valence electrons respectively. The official equation for formal charge is therefore group number minus the number of sticks minus the number of dots for that atom. That brings us back to the molecule we have to find the charge of. We have to calculate the formal charge for each individual atom, and we'll take this one at a time. Let's make sure we know what the group number of each of these molecules belongs to. Hydrogen is in group 1, carbon's in group 4, nitrogen group 5, oxygen 6, fluorine group 7. All three of our hydrogens have a formal charge of 0 because hydrogen's in group 1 and each has a single stick with no dots. For the single fluorine, it's in group 7 minus 1 stick minus 6 dots, so its formal charge is also 0. The oxygen, however, has a positive 1 formal charge because it's in group 6 minus 3 sticks minus 2 dots, and that gives us plus 1 charge. Carbon's in group 4 minus it has 4 sticks, no dots, so 0 is the formal charge. Nitrogen is in group 5 with 3 sticks and 2 dots, so that's also a formal charge of 0. So we have the formal charge of each atom in the molecule, but how can we use this to decipher the charge of the molecule overall? Well, very simply, we just have to add all the formal charges of each element together to calculate the molecular charge. We do that and get positive 1. Even more simple, if the atom has a 0 formal charge, it's as if it doesn't have a formal charge at all. So really, all you have to do is add up the non-zero formal charges. And if there's only one non-zero formal charge, like this molecule right here, that by definition will be the formal charge of the entire molecule. And if the formal charge of the atom is +1 or -1, we just write a plus or a minus symbol respectively next to the atom. Thus, the molecule has a +1 charge overall entirely because of this oxygen. Positive is our answer, and anytime we have a molecule with a charge, we indicate it as such with the brackets and perimeter charge.